ugly, transparent kind of ethnic politics. Exactly the kind of thing we voted for Obama to get passed. And the first thing Obama does is strengthen affirmative action requirements in the federal government. I mean, do you know anybody who's happy to have voted for him?
I voted for him.
But you gotta hate yourself a little bit for doing that.
You gotta look at the alternative.
Well,
though.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Tucker. I'm on the fence. I mean, I feel, I could care less on some stuff. I'm most pissed about a couple things. I'm most pissed about one thing, and that is he's not gotten us out of Afghanistan or
Iraq.
None of that. And in fact, we've increased. Our 1,000th person got killed. A soldier out of Texas got killed last week. Our 1,000th person out of Afghanistan. For what? For what?
Huh. I think somebody called that ahead of time. Didn't somebody say if you vote for Obama, we're actually not getting out of Iraq?
I mean, we weren't going to get out with McCain either. I mean.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. We weren't.
So I agree with you in the fact that at that point we're both screwed, whether your candidate, my candidate, or the next guy. But, I just don't understand why. And I'm not a smart man at all. But what are we really doing over there? What are we accomplishing?
I agree with you completely. You don't need to sell me. I'm already there.
Where's Bin Laden? Seriously. Just a very high school education at best could form those questions.
This has turned into a complete boondoggle.
Yeah, I completly agree. This is a primitive country filled with primitive people with tiny brains.
And finally.
Yes.
And finally. The number one story going anywhere, and obviously the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. And
why'd you do that, by the way?
And here's what I'm thinking. If you're the president of the United States, you got to kind of know what's going on in your country, and I'm sure that the minute that happened, or there relatively soon when it blew up, that he knew that I'm sure that he's briefed about something's happened.
Right.
Why is it that the president, whether it be George W. Bush and how long it took for him to get to Katrina, or whether it be, Barack Obama and, his 30 or 30 some or maybe even 40 some days it took to get down to the shores of Louisiana and so forth. Why does it take him so long? Isn't that, if you know how to work, like a pro wrestler, Brent, or anybody that's smart, wouldn't you be on the first available, not even available flight? Wouldn't you summon
on your own jet?
Wouldn't you summon your boys and say, you know what, I need to be down there now, and I need the heads of BP in my office or somewhere now.
And I want the heads of the MMS and the EPA down there to find out where they failed. I want everybody down there.
You've got a lot of golf to play.
Well, let me tell you something. He handled some stupid
He's played more golf than any president ever.
Some stupid-ass teacher that got, black guy that got hemmed up by a dumbass white cop. Hell, Brent, he had that thing handled before who could care less about that?
That's what he cares about.
Anyway, I'm just saying, man, these presidents
This guy will go down as the worst president in our history.
Well, I don't know about that, but you know what?
Come on, who can beat him?
Well, I think George W. Bush could beat him, but hey,
Woodrow Wilson.
I'll give you. You know what? I'll certainly keep my mouth shut until after we can, finally keep score, because.
Yeah, we're moving in that direction. We're definitely moving in that direction. This guy, and I'm sorry to be humorless. I know it's early in the morning, but that guy he is bad. So much worse than I thought. And now they're talking about bringing criminal charges against BP before they even plug the flow of oil. It seems to me if you really wanted them to stem this tide of oil, right? Save the criminal charges for after.
Yeah, that's true. Here's the other point: is inside the MMS, they were colluding with the oil companies. So yeah. I think you got to turn the finger and point it at yourself a little bit here too.
Well, it's ridiculous. How much better would every one of us feel right now had the president been down there within the first 48 hours and said, you know what, I'll be damned if I'm going to let this happen on my dime, and I need the heads of BP or whoever, I need you in my office now.
Yeah, now. I agree.
Now. This is bullshit. You know what, Brent, I'd actually like to see him cuss one time. The media may bury him, but if he cussed about a situation like this, nobody's going to get mad at him.
You want him to act like he cares.
If he pounded the podium and said, "I want to tell you something. This is bullshit, and I'm not going to stand for it. This is on my dime. This is not going to happen."
If he said bullshit, I'd probably vote for him again.
Yeah.
If he did. If he said that, I would think, you know what, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'd like for him to drop the F-bomb, Spicer. This is totally...
He's not subject to FCC regulations.
No.
He can drop the F-bomb if he wants.
No, only the rest of us are.
If he said, hey, man, this is up. I am so mad right now. You get those mother effers in my office tomorrow. High noon, bitch!
That would be a riot. And then he whipped out a deck of Marlboro Reds and fired one up at the podium with a Zippo.
And with a Billy D. Williams Colt 45.
That would be so cool. Schlitz malt lickety bowl.
No, not a red, but a Newport. He had to fire a Newport up.
He got to fire up a Newport.
That's how the boys in the hood do it.
100%. Though he does smoke Marlboro Reds, which I think is kind of impressive. That's a great cigarette.
Well, see now you gotta kind of put a couple points back into his stat.
Oh, I definitely do. I totally do. The fact that he smokes and doesn't even really deny it, I'm definitely
now how do you know that it's Marlboro Red, though?
Because they've said he smokes Marlboro. I've seen him smoke a cigarette.
Where?
On the street in Boston.
See how sad it is in the media? He truly does smoke. But he can't be photographed anywhere with a cigarette near him.
Which just goes to show
how fake everything is.
How pussified and how fake and contrived everything really is, and how the media, Brent.
What are you talking about? I mean, if he fired up a cigarette in public, that would be on the front page of every paper in the country.
No, I'm just saying that just shows you, and he would be condemned for it, and he would never be reelected, and you would never have gotten elected to begin with, Brent, if any of that would have gotten out.
Yep.
Because God forbid, nobody wants to be real. Meanwhile, a bunch of people in Congress and the Senate and in America smoke, but God forbid that the president does, because he's, setting a bad example for the kids. And it's just, this is just a big facade is all we live in. It's a big pro wrestling deal. And this whole world is.
That's correct.
You think it's all rigged?
Rigged? That's not even the word.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
It's you even said, Tucker's in a documentary called Pollywood. And,
I never saw that.
And you make a really pretty astute observation in there, which is the whole country and the whole world is run by a very small set of people.
Yeah.
Tucker says...
Skull and bones, bitch.
Tucker says...
That's my sense.
Not those words, but he said, there's a very small sect of people that actually run the country and run the world.
Yeah,
and that's just the way it is.
The Rockefellers, the people that know. The people that know. The skull and bones.
The Rockefellers.
Those that are in the know.
Yeah.
That's basically what Tucker says, is those who are in the know.
Right, that's exactly what it is.
It is true. It is. The world is run by about 400 people.
Let me tell you something. And, like, for instance, Murdoch. The head of
Rupert Murdoch,
The bottom line, Tucker, is here's the deal. You work for Fox. You like Fox. They're good to you. You make a good living, right?
Yeah, they're good.
All right. Well, if you said something that Murdoch didn't like, he'd send word to somebody to send somebody to send somebody. They go, hey, Tucker, guess what? What? You're not going to talk that way again. That's not going to be your stance or your opinion.
No, that's totally not true. They wouldn't even bother with that. They'd rub me out. They wouldn't even warn me. They'd execute me immediately.
No, not necessarily. If they think that you're, if you're worthy enough, like if a Glenn Beck said something, Brent, or something like that, like, hey, listen, Glenn, that's not quite how we do it around here, buddy.
Yeah, you know what? Actually,
so at the end of the day, this Rupert Murdoch or another guy, they control what you see, hear, touch, feel.
I'll give you an example. Sean Hannity was set to broadcast live from a Tea Party. And Rupert Murdoch the day before said, no, we don't support the Tea Party, we don't support the Republican Party, we don't support any party. And Rupert Murdoch did pull Hannity off of broadcasting live from the Tea Party.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit more complicated than that, but it was. I think it was a miscommunication. But look, I mean, you can go to the Tea Party events. I've been to a lot of Tea Party events. I spoke at a Tea Party event. And I wasn't, I'm not running as a Tea Party candidate. I'm not giving money to Tea Party people. I just, it's a great place to reach people,
Sure, but what I'm saying is at that point, Rupert Murdoch didn't want Hannity broadcasting from there.
Yeah, well, something happened, no doubt about that. I don't know if was it Murdoch?
Yeah, it was because Murdoch received the question. They said, "Hey, you guys, Fox News, are part of
Murdoch's the most powerful man in America."
I mean, Rupert Murdoch, I've got to give him credit. When you talk about media conglomerates, he really knows what he's doing.
Yes.
He is smart.
He's very smart.
Really smart and tough.
You're his bitch.
I'm 100% his bitch. Whatever Mr. Murdoch says, I do.
Exactly. You know how you treat your migrant workers that shine up your Bentley and stuff? That Robert Murdoch could treat you that way.
Really?
Yep.
I would be honored if he would cane me the way I cane my workers, my servants. One of them this morning, there was a spot on the back. You couldn't see it, but on one of my wingtips, and whoa. Hell to pay.
He took an ass whipping for that, didn't he?
Well, first I threw my pomegranate at him. He was across the room.
Right.
And then the silver service. And I said, come here, and I kind of hobbled after him with one shoe on. I caught him finally.
Yeah. He didn't, he let you catch him because if he would have kept running, that would have been more of an ass whooping like Kunta Kinte.
I think he enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Anyway, Tuck, I'll talk to you next week, my friend.
You guys are the best.
Thank you so much, Tucker.
See ya.
Bye now.
You don't have a choice.